marquita, póntela, ponte la marquita, póntela, aunque sea chiquita, póntela, ponte la marquita, póntela, aunque sea chiquita, póntela.
Let's go to the advice of the word. Today we have a word that is difficult to explain. It is difficult to explain, but we will try to explain it. It was difficult for Paul to explain. So then, let's look for the book to the Hebrews, chapter 5. We will read from verses 7 through 10. Verse 7 says, "Who, in the days of his flesh, when he had offered up prayers and supplications with vehement cries and tears to him who was able to save him from death, and was heard because of his godly fear, though he was a son, yet he learned obedience," say learned obedience, "by the things which he suffered." That's today's topic, learning obedience, because you and I have to learn obedience also. That is learned. That is not known, but it is learned when you live in a body. And we are going to talk about how to learn it. "And having been perfected, he became the author of eternal salvation." Of what? Your salvation is what? Eternal salvation to all who obey him. So then, how did Christ learn obedience? Being tempted in all things. Being tempted in all things. He learned obedience because he was tempted in all things. So then, what happens is, he learned obedience. Listen to this. Pay attention. He learned obedience to be the author of eternal salvation. Now you have to learn obedience, not to save yourself, because he already executed that act. You have to learn obedience. You know for what? So that you can please him and reign in life. So that you can live well. You know what it is for you to live well today with a body like the one you have? Hey, it has costed me. I have learned obedience through a without number of situations in the days of my flesh. You learn. Can't you see that the experience that we have in our physical bodies is for you to learn? It's not for you to say, "Oh Lord, forgive me, I'm going to leave here." Don't leave. If you leave, you will lose it all. The problems that you have had, look, of addiction, alcohol, smoking, drugs, sex, fornication, adultery, theft, deceit, lies, all of that you have gone through, that's not a surprise for the Lord. Look, Lord, I'm going to tell you something. The Lord knows you well. It says that from far you have known me. The idea is for you not to feel guilty. The idea is for you to say, "Hey, I am not walking well. Lord, allow me to learn obedience through all these weaknesses, all these bad experiences. Teach me." It's very long, the path. It's not easy. You know why? Because after you learn, what you will have is a reigning in life. That will be enviable. Because you will walk as little do when you learn obedience. So then, it is not time for you to cry because of the things that have happened to you. Rather, you should learn obedience in the things that have happened to you. And for you to have patience, that your wife has patience with you, and you patience with her, and with your son and daughter, and look for a unity to understand each other, to see how we learn. For you to tell your wife or your husband, "Wait a little longer, I am getting there. I am learning." You have not wasted your time in everything that you have done. I'm learning obedience. It is time for you to mature in faith and let everyone learn from their tribulation. Each person will be exercised in patience, in different times. Because if you judge someone, there is a lot of probability that the angel of that family will make you go through that later on, or even worse. Can't you see that we each have our own angel? I have an angel that has to correct me, but he corrects me according to the way that I understand, so that I do not faint. And he deals with me. And he already knows everything that I am. He knows it. And he takes me. But you also have an angel. And when you confuse yourself is when you look to the side. You have your own angel, and he takes you, and he knows every little step of yours, and he disciplines you. It says it like that. For whom the Lord loves, he chastens and scourges. He takes you in your personal experience. And you have to be attentive to that angel that speaks to you right here in your mind. You hear a little voice. If you do not learn obedience, you are a disaster. You cannot enjoy this life. You cannot do anything. You are a disaster. It's that you have not learned obedience. You are saved. You are God's child in disaster, reigning in disaster. You have to reign in life. You have to be fine. You have to prosper. Imagine if you do not prosper, then you are a poor person that's always battling. If you do not learn obedience, you do not know how to heal yourself. You're always sick and sick and sick and sick. And you do not govern your mouth. You always have a bad confession. You're always complaining and this and doing. It's that you do not reign in your mouth. Oh, if you do not learn obedience, you do not have good behavior. You hurt people. Hey, you, get out of here. Hey, I was here first. What are you doing here? Calm down, boy. There are people like that do not reign. They are nervous. You know? Hey, what's wrong with you? They do not have good manners. Can't you see that they have not learned obedience in anything? You have to be a gentleman, a lady, know how to deal with people with decency, learn how to listen, and know that, hey, calm down. Let me borrow the microphone. We have to learn obedience for everything. And that's how we will reign in life.
With the mark on my mind and body, I will be redressed. With burning flames, emitting energy with the body, it's no fantasy. Because I know that